You have 20 minutes, and you can knock in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Come in.
Hi, Robert. How are you?
Hey, fine. How you doing?
Doing great.
Good.
Hello, Robert. Nice to see you again.
Hey, good to see you again.
Squeezing in all.
Yeah, I know it's a little tight, you know. And golf clubs don't give us a lot of room. Space is valuable here.
It looks great outside. You guys are getting going on the opportunities for the new additions to the club.
Yeah,
It's
it's
looking great.
going to really look good. Hopefully, attract some new members.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
I definitely think it will.
Yeah.
So is everyone here? Is there anyone else that's supposed to be here? Or is it
No,
just
we're
you?
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess the first thing, last time we talked, is kind of want to go over what we talked about last time,
Okay.
kind of the main points of concern that we took from the last meeting. And the first one is, you want to make sure you guys have a good plan in place. Right now you don't have you kind of like a lack of a plan. So we want to make sure that's solid. And then we want to make sure you have a communication with your representative of the company. And then we want to make sure we have a plan for you that fits your business going forward.
Okay.
And we also want to know if your situation has changed since our last meeting.
No, I think everything that we talked about is pretty much on course. You saw some of the new construction, we're developing different ideas and, because our goal, my goal, the board's goal is to advance membership. And we've got to do that, and we think some of these upgrades will do that for us.
Okay. So is there, other than the concerns that I mentioned, is there anything else that you can think of that wasn't mentioned?
No, not at this time.
Okay. So, the first thing we want to talk about is, a way of fixing your communication issues with your provider. So what we want to do, with Seminole, we meet with our clients on a quarterly basis, and every time before renewal, 120 to 150 days before renewal, we meet with our clients, and we look through the market, and we make sure that the products that they have are still suitable for them, and make sure we're getting the best deal in the market.
Yeah, we do that for all our local golf courses in the area. We always make a quarterly meeting to make sure that we find anything that we didn't see before.
Okay.
And then I'll give it up to him for the actual coverage, some of the coverage, some of the things in the plan.
Yeah, so we thought that employee practices liability was something that you guys definitely should have. You guys have a restaurant, you guys serve liquor, so you guys definitely have liability there. And we feel that you need coverage and protection on that aspect too. Would you believe that is so as well?
Well, kind of fill me in on that. What is employment liability?
So basically, if something happens with your employee and you, and they want to file suit or they feel mistreated or wronged, we protect you in the event that there's a litigation.
Okay, so if somebody makes an allegation against me or one of my staff members.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then the next thing that we thought about is tees and greens coverage, which basically it's pretty self-explanatory. Covers like your golf holes, and that's not typically covered in a normal property coverage. So that's why we want to make sure that's a part of the plan. And then the last piece is we want to make sure you have business interruption coverage, because as you mentioned last time, you went through that devastating hurricane, and you guys lost a lot of revenue coming in.
Right.
So we want to make sure that we still have revenue coming in if somehow business gets interrupted.
You got a lot of employees that need income monthly, weekly, and so our business interruption makes sure that we got your employees covered and make sure that the revenues that are not coming in from whatever damage has happened is protected from our business interruption insurance.
Okay. Now, does that come into play, business interruption? Because we've been talking about certainly a hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
But what if it was something else, some other type of loss? Would that come into play with business interruption if I was down for a period of time?
Yes.
Yes. So are you concerned about if it was another type of a disaster, whether or not it would cover the
Say a fire, say,
yes.
Something, unrelated to the golf course and where we couldn't operate, stuff like that. It doesn't have to necessarily have to be a wind event.
No.
Okay.
Our business interruption covers any time that there's an interruption in your revenues.
Okay.
So next thing is we kind of think that this plan really fixes the communication piece. We put in the current plan, and since we're reviewing it with you in every quarter, then we are kind of moving with you while you grow, which is important as you're putting in new pieces of.
Right.
So we feel like these, this plan kind of fits your needs going forward. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, I mean that's the goal, right? We want to grow, we want to expand. We have a lot of things that we're thinking about, and whoever we go with, we want to make sure you're along for the ride.
Okay. And then, so you did mention last time, we talked about disasters a little bit, and a big thing about Seminole it's a nice pro to our working with us is we actually have a loss control team that in a claims team. So let's say you suffer a loss, and we can make sure that gets fixed as soon as possible because they're on. We have a call center working 24 hours, and we make sure that you get up and running as fast as possible. So if you decide to onboard, we can give you all the contact information for those teams too.
All right. So would part of those services be for you all to help me develop a disaster plan
That is in
to
the-
recover?
That is in the disaster
Okay.
plan.
Yes.
And what about some safety plans that, maybe, we're safety conscious here. We hadn't had a lot of claims, but of course, as we expand, there's always that concern that maybe we become a little less safe conscious. Is there something that you all would help me be able to develop a safety plan
Yeah, so
for our employees and staff?
our quarterly meetings will review any type of new risks, new damages, or anything that you have coming up, your growth that's coming up. We'll do whatever we can to make sure that our disaster recovery plan fits your needs.
Okay.
So would you say that, based on everything we've talked about, it's pretty logical and it really makes sense to work with us?
Well, yeah, I mean, you're right, guys. There's a lot we discussed, and we want to make sure that we have a good plan in place. But the concern that we always get when we're looking at brokers and changing insurance agencies is, it's a 1-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
You give me a 1-year deal, and then the next year that 1-year deal's over, and now all of a sudden I get a shock that the premium is increased, that I'm kind of stuck with who I'm with, and now all of a sudden I'm buying something that I thought was a good deal. It's no longer a good deal. So how can you guys help me deal with that if I decide to go with Seminole Insurance?
Just to clarify, is it us leaving you, or is it us, or is it the premiums that you're worried about?
No, it's the premiums.
Okay.
We get a lot of people talk to us about saving us money. I'm not worried about saving money. What I'm worried about is getting value. So how do I feel comfortable with that?
Well, based on how we meet with our clients quarterly, that when we survey the market 120 days to 150 days before renewal, we can make sure that is the best product on the market for you. So you're getting the biggest bang for your buck, and if we're looking every 120 to 150 days before renewal, then we're making sure it's the right choice.
So do I get a proposal then, or is that when you go to the market, or how does that process work?
So we survey, so we compare what you have now. So we take a look at the policy that you have now and then compare it to what's on the market. So if something is, if the premiums are good for the policy you have, we're gonna try and lock in those premiums. But if there's a policy out there that makes more sense,
Okay.
we change that.
Okay.
Yeah, and since you guys are growing, if anything changes, we can always
Right,
change it.
and I understand that. I mean, there's going to be some pain points just by our growth, and we're going to see some additional premiums. But I'm just talking about making sure we continue to maintain value.
Mm-hmm.
So our objective here is to make sure that we establish a long-term relationship with you guys, not just a 1 year. We want to make sure
Right.
that we're
Okay.
here till the end, and we're here by your side 24/7.
That's good. That's good to know.
And most of the clients at Seminole they're over 15 years they've been with us. So we're really, we keep our clients trust us, and we stay with them.
Yeah.
One thing we can also talk about is whatever carrier, that we make this transition to, how comfortable are you guys with their financial strength? Are they rated by AM Best?
Mm-hmm.
Do they have the ability to pay losses? Because at the end of the day, that's really all I care about.
Yeah.
I mean, and like I said in the last meeting, Seminole Insurance Agency is a AM Best rated A+ agency. So you don't have to worry about insolvencies or not being able to pay you back because of our financial distress. You don't have to worry about that. We are financially good, and I feel that we are more financially superior than our competitors in terms of paying out losses.
Okay.
Does that make you feel more comfortable?
Yeah.
It does, because that's, again, from my previous experience with the prior club and the little concern I have with current insurance here, currently with Pinecrest, I just want to make sure, that we don't get stuck again going forward.
Yeah, and of course because if we give you, a policy that doesn't end up paying you out, that really is not a good look for us. So we have your interests first, and we want to make sure it's the highest rated institution we can get you.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So I think it makes sense for us, to work together going forward. Is there, does that make sense to you?
Well, so you guys are comfortable with all the coverages we need, whether it's for the charity work that we're going to be doing,
Mhm.
whether it's some of the newer things that we're putting in place, whether, any automobile issues that we may have. So all that seems to be as part of this proposal.
So when you talk about, like the events and stuff like that, what type of coverage are you looking for this?
Well, we're going to be doing a charity golf tournament
Yeah.
in February of 2020. So going to have a lot more people on this property than our current membership.
Yeah.
So the concern is, having some additional exposure, having vendors on our property selling food, liquor, beer, wine,
Mhm.
which now currently we just do it through the clubhouse.
Yeah.
So I just didn't know if this program would encompass those types of coverages.
Yeah, so we offer the general liability policy, and that's to make sure that anything that happens on your premises, whether or not it's a vendor, it's a guest, it's your employees, not your employees, but just anybody else besides your employees, we make sure that our liability is up to par and adequate with the damages you could sustain.
So if they overserve somebody or something else happens, even if they
Yes.
decide to, unfortunately get in the car and go hurt somebody. So our assets would be protected
Yeah,
under that
like we
policy?
mentioned earlier, the employment practices liability, that's something that we're going to offer you and we're going to provide, and that's what that covers.
Right, but this is liquor. This is, people drinking, and having a good time. That's what we want them to do, because the more they have a good time, the more they raise money for the charity. So I'm just concerned a little bit about that.
Yeah, and for individual, big events like that, we can actually have individual policies just for an event like that. So we don't have to, so we can, because there's gonna be a lot more liability just
Right.
for that specific event. So we can get a bigger policy for that.
And then we can also offer an umbrella policy too if anything catastrophic happens at this charity tournament, and we highly advise that you consider an umbrella policy for this event. So
Okay, so the umbrella would be over
everything.
even if we had the special event coverage?
Mhm.
Okay.
So any other questions like that?
No, I think, guys, this is, we're transitioning, we're trying to find a local broker, we're trying to make good business decisions. This responsibility now falls on me and my committee. We want to make sure that relationship is something that we can go forward with. And of course, we just want to make sure we're getting the best value, for the amount of coverage that we need to insure our club.
I think with us, you're going to get value by having a longer term relationship and having adequate coverage and having a relationship with us that's on a quarterly basis.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, especially because you keep mentioning the value, making sure that you're paying the right prices for whatever you have in place. We're probably the best fit for that because we're reviewing with you so constantly.
Okay, all right.
We fixed your needs of having needing to put a plan in place. We're gonna fix your communication issues, and we're gonna make a plan to help your business grow as you develop the club more and more. So would you say it makes sense to move forward together?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. If you perform like you say, absolutely, I'd love to do business with you.
Great. So, you know, the next couple days we'll schedule something to actually look at the grounds and everything, and we'll go from there.
Okay, all right,
So
thanks, guys.
Thank you.